It's no good you looking all sweet and innocent. You're in the doghouse. Yes, you. It's no good purring. I'm afraid this is half of the reason, the other half is still upstairs, of why I'm not going to do a Sunday chat today. I was coming down the stairs and these two were playing Looney Tunes and they both came charging down the stairs together, and basically I misfooted and I've turned my ankle over on the stair, and luckily I only fell down the last two stairs and didn't do any damage, but I really can't stand at the moment. My foot hurts a lot. So we're not going to be doing an orchid video, we're going to do a contrived video, and that might give you a clue. A while back I did a walk into a boggy heathland area, you may remember. In addition to that, that was revisiting an area that I went to back in the summertime. And in the summertime I found a tree that I will collect and turn into a bonsai. But as part of that video, that original one, I'll put links to these two videos so that you can watch them if you choose to do so. But I did mention a style of bonsai that could be suitable for quite a lot of the trees in that area, because the trees in that area, many are growing in heather. So they obviously, you know, they manage to get a hold, and the first thing they do is push for the light. So they end up having a considerable amount of their trunk in the heather, which you can't see from a distance. From a distance, some of these trees look absolutely superb for bonsai purposes until you get close, and then you think, actually, it's a lollipop. If you add the sort of 30-40 centimetres of trunk that's buried in the heather onto the bit you can see, it's a lollipop, so they don't work. However, they might work for this. I know I'm filming the screen, which is not the best way. Ow! Oh, I can't even put my foot down at the moment. Yeah, it's no good you making noises. You're in the doghouse. But I've just put in literati bonsai. Now this is it's a strange expression, because it goes back to like 1400, you know, in an area called Bunjin, I think it was. It'll be here because some of these will probably have the word on them if I look carefully. I can't see any at the moment, but I'm pretty sure it was an area called Bunjin. And basically literati means learned people. So, there's one, look, yeah, literati style, bonsai style Bunjin. So basically if you go back to then, basically any bonsai that was produced in that area was referred to as a literati Bunjin style bonsai. And it didn't mean much because it meant anything, but come the 1800s it started to evolve into a style, and it's deemed to be a simple style, simplistic, shall we say. I won't say simple because to achieve it is not that easy. Let me just get rid of that. You can see more at once then, but you can see from all these pictures the variety. I mean, you get things like this. That's incredibly contrived. You know, I mean, that's a trunk that's been taken up, brought down, twisted, and then all the branches are almost lower than the base of the tree. I don't like that at all, and wouldn't want anything like that. But this is more a representation. Whoops. Oh, goodness knows what happened there. But yeah, it's I mean, my impression of literati style, it's not going to have many branches. It could have an almost straight trunk, not necessarily. Again, that's taking it to extremes. You know, that's just a stick with a few twists in it and a bit of green on the top. So that doesn't do anything for me. No, not really. However, I quite like that one. But then in the modern view, that trunk would be a little bit thick. And the top hasn't got a piece that is quite important. Let's see if I can find one. Ow. No, wrong sort of tree. I'd say that in simplified form, the trouble is it's a small picture, it's got a curve to the trunk, yes, but the first branch hangs right down and follows the curve of the trunk. I mean, this one, that's an exaggerated form, but the idea is that one of the branches hangs down from near the top and mirrors the trunk alongside it. Now, because that one is leaning over, obviously to mirror the trunk, you know, it's sort of coming back on itself. And in this particular instance, I would suggest whoever styled that didn't like the trunk because they've hidden it. So they've contrived to hide it. See, again, a branch that comes right down from near the top of the tree. So a little exaggerated there, but yeah. So I'm now thinking that there are a lot of trees in that area that I could do something with along these lines. Now I might make a right pig's ear of it, and it just doesn't work. But as there's enough material there for a couple to go missing and not be missed, if you know what I mean, and I'd have to be selective. So first things first, I need to go back, because the first thing I want to do is find that twin trunk that we found back in the summer. I did mark it, and what I'll do is I'll cut a piece of that video out and play it now. There's another interesting tree there from a distance, but I know what's going to happen as I get closer. In an environment like this, the bit of the tree that you see that looks really interesting is sitting on the top of about a foot of trunk that's buried down in the heather. And when you start looking at the whole thing, it just loses its appeal straight away. Been caught many times. But I mean, that's got a nice curve on the trunk, and it's got no lower branches. If you look, you come around the other side. It's a very, very long trunk before there's a branch. So it just wouldn't work. There is a style of bonsai called a literati, which has very long wispy trunks, and all the branches are sort of at the top. It is a specific style, but the proportions have to be spot on or it looks totally wrong. It either looks like a stick with a lollipop on the top, or it looks like a great big thick trunk with a couple of bits sticking out. So the balance between the thickness of the trunk and the number of branches and the density, it has to be right. And it's a style that is, well, it's one of the things that's almost impossible to achieve. But anyway, that was just to show the how you get fooled. Just made a beeline for that from quite a long way away. A twin trunk pine is incredibly rare, but I know what's going to happen when I get down in the heather. It's going to be two trees, so it won't be a twin trunk. Well, I'm blowed, it is. That's a twin trunk. So what have we got then? Branches up between the two trunks come off, so all of this is dead, so it's of no use. So this is the first live branch pointing out that way. Second, take that one off there and make that the leader. And over this side we got that's not going to grow, that's too far gone. So that's the first, no, that's too far gone. So we've got to come quite high up to get a decent branch. I'm not sure that would work. It's too tall. What a shame. That's an incredibly rare event. Twin trunk pine. Plus, where it is in the middle of nowhere as far as a marker is concerned. I mean, I can mark that, but at the time of year when I would need to come and collect it, this is going to be 6 inches of water and very soggy underfoot, whereas the other one is on a path. So, you know, even if the path has got running water down the middle, I can still make my way along the edge. That's a shame. Get back and get some good shots so that I can study that when I get home. I might be able to do something with that just by looking at some. I need to see where all the branches are that have got foliage on. That's a shame. I was just going to say there is a branch low down, but that's on the one that's already got some foliage. It's this one that's short on foliage. Anyway, I filmed it. Now I need to mark it. That's going to be fun, isn't it? So where's my big clump of bushes? That big clump of bushes there that you probably can't even see because it's too far away. To the right hand side of that is the gap in the hedge where I came in. So I'd have to say it's probably about a 30-degree angle, and providing nothing dies, which tree would you pick as a marker to head for? The birch tree. It's the only one. So I could find this if I had to. Right, so that was the twin trunk I found, and I quite like the idea of a twin trunk literati, and I think I can do something with that one on the grounds that my attitude to the tree as a more standard bonsai was that the shorter of the two parts to the tree had quite a bit of foliage on it, and the other one didn't until it was quite near the top. Well, now think that through. If that was the outside trunk, then one of the branches from up near the top there could be the one that hangs right down and mirrors the trunk. And then the smaller twin trunk comes up underneath it. It's difficult to explain. Perhaps I could do it with pointing. Let's see if I can find one that would suit me drawing with my finger. Oh, this is getting silly. This is instead of my orchid chat, you do realise. I can't stand up for long enough, and I can't contrive getting a chair out there because I wouldn't be able to lift it. So I'm just going to give it a miss. I'll do a chat in the week, perhaps tomorrow, if we're on 2 feet by then, instead of hopping around and walking around holding on to furniture when I have to walk. But at the moment I'm doing my best not to have to. Oh, come on, there must be something here. See, unfortunately now I've got a picture in my mind of what I want to do, and finding one that looks like it is not going to be easy. Well, let's take that one for an example. That's only a single trunk, obviously, but you've got the single trunk coming up here, and then you've got the longer branch from the top coming down. Well, imagine if that went out a little bit further and came down further away, and then the second trunk went up inside, mirroring the first trunk for a while, and then had a few branches coming off inside the long one from the outside with a curve. So we'd have a curved trunk and another curved trunk inside, and the inside one would have more branches. The outside one would probably have one near the top and one that did the long dangly bit. So that's my idea, and so that's the twin trunk. And what I might do is try and get a couple of others I did see plenty there. As I said, I even mentioned it in the video, as you saw the bit that I played. There's, that there would be plenty there to try it with. So the next thing I need to do is revisit and look specifically. First of all, try and find that twin trunk again. I did benchmark it. I should be able to find it. The only problem was back in the summer, the tree that was the marker was the single birch tree that was all on its own, because it was a perfect marker because it was the only tree in that area. So all I've got to do is find it and line it up with my starting place and then walk, and I should come across the twin trunk. That's the theory anyway. But while I'm there, have a look round for other suitable things, because we're getting probably about a month, maybe 5 weeks. It should be a suitable time to go and collect. Now you can't. It's advised not to. Let's put it that way. It's advised not to collect plants and try and turn them into a bonsai immediately, because you're bending the branches and wiring, and you're upsetting the flow of the sap through the tree when it's already had a major upset. So that's taking it to extremes. We don't want anything like that. I don't like that at all. The same as I don't like that. However, I do quite like that. Yeah. So and again, that is a pine tree. I'm sure I can find something like that. If you look at the shape of the actual bonsai part of the tree, you've got very little taper on the trunk. That's an integral part. Think about all the ones we've looked at. But then a branch from quite near the top is brought down so that there's foliage halfway up the trunk, but it comes from up near the top. There were lots of trees with branches like that. It'd be just nice to find one that's already got some natural curve in it somehow. Otherwise you're bending quite a large trunk. But that's sort of the more extreme view. So that to me doesn't work, simply because the trunk gets thicker as it gets higher. Well, that's a no-no. You don't do that in bonsai. Trees don't do that sort of thing. But the style, the idea of a branch coming from the top, coming right down, with branchlets coming off, layers as it does it. I like it. I like it. So that's a tall, relatively straight one. There would be stacks of trees in that area that look like that, because there's very little movement in the trunk. It's almost straight, and all of the branches come out from near the top. Yeah. Trouble is, doing all this might get me back into bonsai. I'll be spending all my time in the back garden, and the orchids will die. Like you're going to believe that. Anyway, that's just to replace the Sunday chat, because I can do it sitting down. And some thoughts. There are quite a few people that are interested in my bonsai, wonder when I'm next going to film and all that sort of stuff. I won't, it's not going to take over, but now that I'm in this place, if I'm in the kitchen doing stuff, I see the back garden. If I'm in the conservatory, I see the back garden. If I'm if I'm sat at my station like I am now, grounded, I can see the garden. But the bonsai will be part of that garden. So I think they're going to become a little bit more important than they have been. Because they've, a lot of the time they've just been neglected because I can't see them. I was always looking through shaded windows. See, that more typifies the style, the sort of trunk that's almost the same thickness till it gets to the first branch. First branch drops right down and follows the shape of the trunk, and then some other branches form some layers towards the top. But you notice, apart from that gin is, if you don't know, it's a branch that's been taken off and the bark removed, so that it just looks like it's old and died, but if that wasn't there, all the branches would be on one side of the trunk, and they all tend to be on the inside of the curve of the trunk. Yeah? Not on the outside. They're all on the inside, so they're on the inside curve of the trunk. And yeah, I think we can do something along those lines. Possibly, I'm going to get a copyright strike in a minute. Pictures of the inside of books here. Go away. I doubt if anybody could possibly find that. So, you know, that isn't a particularly good example in my book, but again, it's just the style and whether I can get a couple to work in that style. You know, again, sort of taking it to extremes. But when you look at some of the old Chinese drawings, you can see where it's coming from. Yeah? You can see these old style drawings, you can see what they're getting at. Yeah. Anyway, well, that's a nice one. Well, I know it's a drawing, not a tree, but I quite like that one. Yeah. Anyway, sorry, no chat, but as I said, I'm not spending any time on my feet today. And the only reason to get up onto my feet is to get more coffee, and I haven't had many of them since I tripped. And also go to the loo and get something to eat. Apart from that, I'm staying seated, and hopefully the swelling will go down and some movement will return. But we shall see. I mean, I'm not a clumsy person. I don't trip and slip and fall. You know, it's not something that's part of me. I've got pretty good balance and everything like that. But as I said, I was attacked from behind and they got right under my feet. You know, I was avoiding treading on cats, basically, and I misfooted myself and turned my ankle over and fell. See, now that could have been worse. You know, it could have been the top stair instead of the, whatever it was, second or third from bottom. And even though I did fall, I didn't have far to go. But, yeah, that wasn't the problem. It was the twist in the ankle. And quite honestly, from where I was, I couldn't actually get up. I had to crawl back up the stairs to be able to sit down and then pull myself up onto one foot and hop. And I mentioned a few unmentionable words while I was hopping as well. All sorts of choice words were coming out, especially as I thought it through. And I thought, oh crikey, if this is going to last a while, you know, I'm going to be iffy driving because it's my right foot. You know, that's your braking foot. Anyway, we'll see what happens. I'm still alive, I suppose. Yeah. And I'll see you next time. Bye for now.